What's up, YouTube? Southern Comic Geek coming to you with it's going to be a very long video because I've got a haul from Dragon Con. I've got the giveaway that I decided to do in a pre-recorded video and with this one. And I got an announcement, so don't skip ahead. You might miss something that you'd like. And so you know the drill. Stay tuned for the video. Now, before we get into all of this comic book madness, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification. So when videos like this one drop ever so randomly, you are one of the first people to know and can make the conscious decision as to whether or not to watch it now or later. Why don't you watch it? We appreciate you. So let's get into some Dragon Con haul. So if you're familiar with the channel, you know that at least here recently, I have been, when I go to these cons, I pick up a lot more like before I get to the con than I'd actually do at the con. So Dragon Con had a very interesting start. If you're not familiar with it, I won't go to it on the video, but I found out after the fact that it was quite the interesting start. But nevertheless, they had a lot of A-listers there, people that have been doing this comic book stuff forever. Scott Hanna, John Romita Jr., Daryl Banks, list goes on. And it actually worked out good at the building that they were in, that they were all on one floor. I did not realize that they actually had vendors on other floors until much later, having been there. I was able to visit a couple of vendors' booths, picked up a few things from there, not much. Most of it was signatures and remarks, etc., from the various other people that were there. So overall, it was okay. The only beef, if you want to call it that I have with Dragon Con was the fact that they allow people to buy tickets for Thursday when there's nothing there. I mean, it's a cosplay thing, but that's basically free. And I wasn't interested in doing that anyway. So I wasted money on a Thursday ticket. Dragon Con, if you're watching this, quit being like that. And answer your emails. But nevertheless, other than that, I was able to see a lot of A-list artists and writers. John Jang was there. The list goes on, and you'll see some artwork. You'll see some comics. You'll see some SIGs, all that kind of good stuff. If you'll stick around. Wait a minute. That's already copyrighted. If you'll just, stay watching. Okay, let's get into the signatures first. I had a bunch of stuff to get signed. First off, we got Hulk. This is the movie adaptation to the first Hulk movie. This is a Dale Keown cover. Maybe one day I'll see him at a con and get him to sign this. But we got Scott Hanna and Mark Bagley. So pretty dope. I actually picked up, spoiler alert, picked up a piece of original art from this same issue that was at a booth right next to him. So there we go. All right, Secrets of the Valiant Universe. So this was a thing that Valiant put out with some upcoming storylines. So there's a lot of writers like previews almost that Valiant did, and there's a lot of writers and artists that are on this. And as you can see, I've gotten several over the course of time to sign. So I got let's see, I got Bob Hall, who was there, and Mike DiCarlo. I'm trying to think, yeah, that was the only one. And talking about Mike DiCarlo, I didn't realize he was going to be there because he was not in that list of people. Otherwise, he was the inker for the death of Jason Todd. Would have been really nice to have been able to get that signed because I've already got my copy signed by Jim Starlin. So, nevertheless, I happen to have that because I was getting Bob Hall to sign it, so it worked out pretty good. Amazing Adventures number 11. So Jerry Conway was there, and strangely enough, his table wasn't very busy. I mean, he got the creator of so many big properties like the Punisher and so on. So he was the writer. This is the first furry beast. Amazing Adventures 11. We got Incredible Hulks 629. So when I get books signed, I like to get, because you can't have every book that the artist does sign, otherwise you just go broke, right? But you get one nice cover, great story, maybe it meant something to you. Also, if there's room for like good signature placement, that's a big plus. And if I'm able to get it signed by multiple people. In this case, this is a Frank Cho cover, and Jason Keith, who is the inker, was also there, and so I got both of them to sign that. Was it Ty Grummett, the guy that did the Superboy stuff back in the 90s? He was the interior artist. And so maybe I'll be able to get him one day. So here's Totally Awesome Hulk #1, another Frank Cho cover. I had this Weapon X #1 signed by Frank Terry. It's one of the Dynamic Forces one, but George Genty, maybe, he was there, so I got him to sign that. This is Superman Man of Steel #19. I also got #18. So first appearance of Doomsday. Of course, this is deep into the saga. John Bogdanova, maybe. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too bad. But got him to sign both of these. He was actually late getting there. And I was in line, and I thought to ask, hey, does he accept cards? Because I had run low on cash. And they said, no, he doesn't accept cards, only cash. Crap. Oh, well, it's only 2 books. I'll just forget about it. Well, then I noticed on his sign later on that he signs the first 5 free. Great. Only got 2 books. So I go to get back in line, and the guy was there. I mentioned to him, I said, well, I would have stayed while ago when I asked you that. I didn't know that you could get more than, or at least 5 books signed for free. And he's like, yeah, well, blah, blah, blah. Well, the guy got up to leave to go to a panel. And I was like, dude, I just got out of the line before. He said, hey, John, could you sign these 2 for him? And everybody behind me was ticked off. But we got Avengers versus X #0, second printing. So this one was already signed by Jason Aaron. I bought this, I think, off of YouTube or Instagram purchase. Frank Cho, Jason Keith, and Brian Michael Bendis, who was there. Not great placement by Brian Michael Bendis, but I couldn't argue that much. Seemed like a nice enough guy, and he was signing everything for free. So couldn't argue too much with that. Thanos Quest, book 2, and Thanos Quest, book #1, signed by Jim Starlin. I got John B to sign that at Dallas Fan Expo a couple months ago. So at least probably get Ron Lim one day to sign the other part too. So, all right, we got Unity 2000. This is the ill-fated series. Acclaim trying to bring all the magic back, but it was very late in the game. This series got canceled after 3 issues. This is the first issue. I'd already gotten Joe Rubenstein and Jim Shooter to sign. So I forgot to bring this book when I went to Huntsville Comic Con, where Jim Starlin was at before. So I just said, I'll get this one done too. And so when I told Starlin, he saw the Thanos Quest, he said, yeah, I see those all the time. He said, I don't hardly ever see one of these. Again, it's one of those things. John Romita Jr. Now I'm going to tell you that in hindsight, I probably would not get as much or pay as much as what I did for John Romita Jr. Nice enough guy. But his signatures are pretty pricey now. I think they're $40 or $50, so a little on the high side. This is the trade. I don't typically get trades signed anymore, but this was when I first got back into collecting. I already had this, and David Finch and Klaus Janson were at a con that I went to. It was actually the last Wizard World con, and so yeah, I just got one and got Romita to sign right there. Super dope. He also had for sale, let's me see if I'll put all these together. All of the World War Hulk, which I think is some of his better work, especially in latter times, some of his better work. I did get a chance to talk to him about his artistry, because, you know, some people like it, some people don't. I guess that could be said for just about any artist that's out there. You know, some people love it, some people hate it, type deal. He's not my favorite artist, but there's some stuff that he really does that I think his art style just kind of resonates with. And the World War Hulk and that gritty type drawing that he does works well with that. I think his early 2000s, I'm not so sure about the current Spider-Man run that he's doing, but the early 2000s run that he did, it was great. Certainly his OG X-Men stuff, even his late 90s X-Men was good. And then what I talked to him about was his art style, because the first comic book that I ever quote unquote read was Amazing Spider-Man 236. And I got him to sign it. And if you notice this right here, his Spider-Man looks a lot like his dad's. And I asked him, I said, when did you make the conscious decision to go from like very close to what your dad was doing to doing it? He said it really was more about speed. He said I couldn't do as good as dad was doing, and it was everybody's like deadline, deadline, deadline. And so he came up with the art, which I don't know if it's good or bad. I appreciate his honesty, but it's like, okay, so I can draw sloppier, which sloppier is better in some people's eyes. Think Bill Sienkiewicz, for example, more abstract. But anyhow, that's what he told me. So I was just relaying that. But I did pick up the World War Hulk connecting covers that he did. Marvel gives like so many, usually DC gives so many copies of the book that they've done to the various contributors of it. And these were some of those copies. So I got all 5 of them signed by him, including the first appearance of Scar. And so, yeah, at some point I'll try to get all these signed by. And that's where I really started splurging, was when I bought these from him. All right, so Daryl Banks was there. Daryl Banks, probably best known for the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. He was there. So speaking of Kyle Rayner, I of course had to get him to sign that. Hope to get Ron Morris at least to sign these other ones right here. The whole Emerald Twilight saga, including a Copy 50 newsstand right there. And then also the homage cover that he did in Joker 7 more recently. So Tynion is on this. So several people I could get to sign that as well. But he was a real nice guy. So I have a Justice League jam piece that I had worked on, and I got him to contribute to it. So for those of you familiar with the channel, you might have seen this before, where I got Pat Broderick, Isaac Goodhart, Miko Suyan, and John Beatty to do these respectively. Well, when I was in Dallas a couple weeks ago at a small con, met up with Nick's Kicks and Comics, but it was in a mall. I got Sal Valletto to do Martian Manhunter. So I'd already got Pat Broderick to do a Green Lantern. If you remember the story, I did not ask Pat Broderick to do Green Lantern. I actually asked him to do Firestorm, but he decided to do Green Lantern. Whatever, it was great. So I told Daryl Banks, I said, look, I would normally get you to do a Green Lantern. What about Plastic Man? Because if you notice on Sal's, and I really didn't give him that much, clarity maybe as to how much of the page that I want him to take up. But with the extra cuffs on his cape, really didn't leave a lot of real estate. And then you got this yellow UPC code. So I came up with the idea of Plastic Man. And so that's what Daryl Banks did for me. It was Plastic Man. Seeing like he comes out from the side over there and stretches up. So that worked out really good. And then this is a Flash, and that's from Mike DiCarlo that I mentioned earlier. So I finished that jam piece. Next, probably one I'm working on. I'm kind of working on I got an Age of Apocalypse one. Got Scott Hanna to do the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. I was paid for John Romita Jr. to do a Nightcrawler part on that for Age of Apocalypse. We'll see if I get it. I better get it. That's a different story for another day. But probably the next one aside from that I'll be working on is probably the Justice League villains. I don't know if I'll go like from there. So yeah, I kind of like the idea. Leave me a comment down below what you think. But I like the idea of like the villains as related to the good guys that I have on there, if that makes sense. We'll see. All right, X Factor 85, Jay Lee. Back in the 90s, these were some of my favorite characters, all represented here on this. I got Jay Lee to sign it and got Peter David, who was at Fan Expo, to sign as well. All right, Deathmate. I purchased this originally with many of the signatures on here. I have since gone back and picked up other ones that were not. Jim Lee's was already on here. Casada's was already on here. Dan Fraga, but got Ramos. Bob Halls was the one that I got added this time. X-Men 205, great David Finch cover. This is the first appearance of Hope Summers. And so I'd already gotten David Finch to sign it, and I picked up Jason Keith to sign as well. The Shepherd #2. This is a newer book, but I got the writer to sign it right there for me. He is one of the editors, I guess, at Black Caravan / Scout Comics. And he's always running the booth, at least at the times that I see the Scout Comics booth. And so that's my favorite Scout series, if you will. Then we got Transformers and Terminator. I guess I'd missed this when it came out. I think it's a Frankie's Comics deal. I don't typically deal with them because they take too long to send your stuff. John Jane Goodness, Megatron like a boss. Got the Terminator hanging. There's John Jane's signature. And this one's definitely been a work in progress. Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider. I know D-Runk Comics can get behind this one for sure. I originally bought it off a YouTube auction, and Peter David had already signed it. So then I got Mark Bagley to sign it. And I got John Dale to sign it last year. So at the con this time I got Bagley and Jason Keith to sign it. So we got the 4 creators that are mentioned up here all have signed it. So pretty dope. And I met Raul Allen. So I mentioned earlier about Mike DiCarlo not even being on the thing. I didn't even see anything with Raul Allen. I don't think I had anything at the time, I guess, in all fairness. But he had these packs. David Mack did them with the Something's Killing the Children. These are the Once and Future 6 packs. And they're all like cover bleed or negative space covers. Really dope. And he's a Spanish guy. And I don't know if that was his wife or girlfriend or what the connection was, but I actually have his and her signature on something else that I got. And she said, "Hey, you want to get him to sign it too?" Because he worked on me with this. I said, "Oh, okay, cool." Well, then when I got to doing this, he was selling the 6-pack, and I got him to sign all of them on that too. So pretty dope. Then we got Usagi, the John Jang. This is the Frankie Comics. I think the other one wasn't the Frankie Comics, the Terminator, but nevertheless, got him to sign that. Pretty dope. The Man Called Cable. So Cable, this is Cable 150, the lenticular cover. And I got John Dale to sign it. And then so I also got Mark Bagley to sign it. When I went to hand him this, he goes, "I didn't work on this." And I thought, oh my goodness. But kept flipping through and he did a pinup of Cable in there, and that's why it's in the CLZ. I think this was pretty much the same thing. Iron Fist 73 lenticulates to the Iron Fist 14. And then I got Scott Hanna to sign my X-Force 25, which I'd already gotten Fabian Nicieza and Greg Capullo to sign. Wraparound hologram cover. And if you remember this story, basically Cable's just a pile of just that Cable at the end of the story. So they really had not fleshed out Cable's origin and all that kind of stuff during that issue. All right. got this in recently with an eBay purchase. This is a prelim by Jackson Butch Geist. So this is a prelim. I didn't pay that much for it, so I wasn't all that mad about it. But I kind of first, and it should have been on me. I should have asked about it. But this is the cover of Turok number 5. So if you pull the cover, Turok number 5, one of the Dynamite iterations of Turok, you'll notice that there's not a lot of change from where they were doing. He was doing the prelims as opposed to where it ended up being at. And at the con, I picked up this Incredible Hulk number 1 omnibus. So this has Incredible Hulks 1 through 6, Tales to Astonish 59 through 101, and Incredible 102. So 59 is where Hulk goes into the title, and then 102 is the first issue back. So, and dope Alex Ross homage cover of issue 1. And I bought this off Amazon. Oh, so back at Dallas Fan Expo, I got the original art page to this, original pencils. So there's no original inks on it because the pencils were scanned and the inks were done on Blue Line, I guess. So got the original pencils to this cover right here. So pretty dope. Infinite Crisis, one of my favorite storylines in more recent DC history. Little DC lore. Identity Crisis was a good one too. But I got that not only for the story, but because I had the cover art on that. So got some more signatures. All right, I already had this signed by Graham Nolan. So we got Scott Hanna to sign that as well. Detective Comics 0. Exo Manowar free comic book day. So this is the first appearance of Bloodshot's daughter, whose name escapes me right now. But the lady I mentioned earlier, she signed it. And then that Raul Allen guy signed it as well. Not a book I probably would have paid as much as I did normally to get John Romita to sign, but I had already got Klaus Janson to sign it, which was very early in my collecting. Didn't have a lot of Klaus Janson stuff at that time to get signed, and then I got Tom King to sign it just because they decided to get Romita to sign it as well. That's an okay cover. Miss Marvel number 19. So this is one of my birthday books, and ironically enough, it's issue 19, so it says August the 19th, which is when my birthday is. So kind of a different special birthday book. Rubenstein had already signed it. Bob McLeod had already signed it. John Romita Jr. signed it right there. And I think I can still get Shooter to sign it. Would be another good one. Fallen World number 5, David Mack. Yeah, he didn't charge me nothing to sign it either. Probably because it was one of those covers you don't see that often. Luke Cage 166, which is an homage to the OG one. And that one actually articulates fairly well. Mark Bagley signed it. Already got John Dale to sign it previously. Spider-Man 26. So I got Sam De La Rosa previously to do this, and the I'm not a real big fan of remarks, and especially if they take away from the hologram. But I've seen several people do this before and liked it. I wasn't planning on getting him to do this one. I got him to do another one, which is it the web one? Yeah, Web Spider-Man hologram one. And he saw this one in my deal to get signed, and he's like, "Hey, I worked on that." I said, "Oh, you did?" It wasn't in CLZ, by the way, because it's like the additional story. For whatever reason, he wasn't listed as in the credits on the CLZ app. And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you want me to do one because it's a Hulk story?" So he did the Hulk instead. So I got Joe Rubenstein, which said, "You should tell Sam he shouldn't run a cover like that," and I'm sure he meant it. And I got Mark Bagley to sign it this time. And then this is Marie Weatherstetter, who was the colorist. Wonder Woman 72, Jenny Frizen. Goodness, I had bought this already signed by Jenny Frizen and Scott Hanna. I got him to sign it when I went to Dragon Con. Amazing Spider-Man 365. I'd already gotten Peter David and Peter David. Who was the other one? But I got Mark Bagley and John Romita Jr. to sign it this time. Name's escaping me as to who that is, but I'll think about it when I'm not trying to. Thor 225, first appearance of Nova, or Firelord, sorry. He wasn't Nova, but Firelord. And all right, got Jerry Conway to sign that. New Avengers number 5, great David Finch art, and got Brian Michael Bendis to sign that one. The Mighty Thor 229, for you Wolverine fans, you know this is one of the books that has the Wolverine advertisement in it, and it's also written by Jerry Conway. So got him to sign that one for me. So that was a bunch of books. Let's show some original art. All right, we got, first off, we got Wolverine Origins, issue number 47, page 6. This is Will Conrad. It's a huge semi-splash page. I think that's Romulus, or it might be Dakin. But yeah, that's Scar in there. So that's it was a pretty dope cover. Could pass up, especially for the price. I've gotten to where I don't buy many just because of space and money put to other things, but prints. But Mike DiCarlo, I wanted to give him a little business. It didn't seem like he was all that active. And he had this print, which is the actual alternate story ending for the death of Jason Todd. So in the alternate story, Jason Todd lives, and you can see he says he's alive. So I thought that was kind of neat. This is the Hulk page that I mentioned earlier. And the coolest thing about it doesn't have Hulk on there, but he's getting mad. And then right there at the end, his eyes turn green, or it is in the book. But and you remember Bill Bixby doing that kind of stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool. Got Scott Hanna and Mark Bagley to sign it. Now, these are both blue lines, but there's just a lot going on here. Scott Hanna had actually inked these. So I don't know. I should have asked him if the guy even sent the originals or not. But anyway, this is actually when Hyro, I think his name is, which is Hulk's other son. This is when he dies. So that was kind of cool. A lot of action going on there. And then this has got A-Bomb, Korg, A-Bomb being Rick Jones, and Korg and Scar. A lot of action going on. Got Scott Hanna to sign both of those pages for me. And the lady whose name is escaping me, the Spanish lady, like I said, I didn't do many prints, but she was like she was having that much action. It was a cool Barbara Gordon Batgirl print. Got her to sign it. For whatever reason, she signed it on the back to me. She's like, "Oh, you want me to sign on the front?" I was like, "You already signed it on the back. Why are you asking me now?" All right, let's see some books I picked up. We got TMNT 124. Actually picked this up at the con. Didn't pay much for it. Christmas issue. Eastman's stuff. Justice League number 2. Kind of filling out that New 52 Justice League run. All that great Jim Lee art. We'll see if I keep it after I get it. But we got Silver Surfer number 2. It's a great line. Stan Lee does in this. Mobius art. Just cool book. Picked it up on the cheap. Silver Surfer number 22. 27. Kind of putting a Silver Surfer run together here. At least to where Ron Lim went off the book. This is 24. 59. Penny Gauntlet crossover. 60. 40. Issue 40 of Wolverine. So I had this whole volume 2 run, and then sold some of them, because half the fun in collecting to me, especially for some of these replaceable books, there's some, like if I have them, like that Jam piece. Okay, if I get rid of that, can I really ever get those memories back? I mean, what's the odds of being able to get all that back? But like with this, it's Wolverine 40, whatever. So I sold some of them thinking, okay, well, I'll just pick them up. And that's what I did. I just pick up the few that I'm missing. That's fun with that. Silver Surfer 62. Really wasn't looking for the annuals of Silver Surfer, but this one was $2, I think. Great Ron Lim cover there with Morg and Silver Surfer. This is the Dragon Con booklet. It kind of shows where everybody's at and who all's there and all that kind of stuff that you get when you sign up. Normally don't keep these, but this is a homage to George Perez. So you see George in a lot of those places. Obviously, he was a big to do here at Dragon Con, and it says Infinity George Perez. So it's a deal to him, and it's a cover swipe to famous cover he done with Infinity Gauntlet 1, which I also have signed by. Picked up Joker and Harley. Didn't pick these up when they came out, probably because I was just like, all my new books were just like so many of them. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of cut that. But these were half price. Great Miko and Mike Mayhew art on those. So that's number 1, and there's number 2. Picked up this cool little book, Marvel Illustrated Books, The X-Men. So Dave Cockrum art. This actually has the story of giant-sized X-Men in there. Immortal Hulk number 50. This is the foreshadowing variant done by Ryan Stegman. This is the cool one where they just like a collage of all the different Hulks. I just put it on my want list and I noticed it, picked it up for $1.50. So that was pretty dope. I think this one's a Jim Bartell cover. And then this one is, I forget which one this one is, but it's issue 50, Immortal Hulk. And then this is the Gary Frank cover, pretty dope. Didn't want to pay $10 a pop when these first came out, but well, that Gary Frank I think was $3 because I got a different place. This is the one that came out with the DVD, so I picked that up at Killer. What's it? Something Finds. Dang it. In Augusta. I think it's Killer Finds. All right, Shadow Man. This is is it Thing or It? Movie homage poster. X-Men number 14. Gambit number 2. Fantastic Four, or all new Fantastic Four. Number 3. Told Peter David when I got him to sign a book for me, said, hey, how does it feel to be still writing some of the best stuff that Marvel puts out? Because it's just, I said, admittedly, you have less competition now, but still. Obi-Wan number 4, the Choose Your Destiny variant. Uncanny Avengers number 16. Mr. and Mrs. X number 1, the second print, and this is the Rogue Gambit marriage issue cover. Mr. and Mrs. X number 12. This is X-Men something or another, issue number 2, the trading card variant of Rogue that I missed out on, and they had that at Augusta Book Exchange. Star Wars 26, the Choose Your Destiny Plo Koon. I had missed this one somehow or another. Star Wars 24, so they would pick that up. Immortal Hulk number 40, great Scotty Young cover. Foreshadowing what happens here. Foreshadow. Dr. Aphra number 23, Choose Your Destiny Darth Maul. Oh, look at that. Bloodshot, $1. Turok, $1. Shadow Man, $1. I was able to also pick up this for $1. Scar, Son of Hulk. Great Ryan Garney art. Issue number 2. This is also the first appearance of Hyro, Hulk's other son, that I mentioned earlier on that death page. Incredible Hercules 129. Exo Man of War number 0. Choose Your Destiny Darth Vader number 24. Doc Aphra number 22. Choose Your Destiny. Han Solo and Chewbacca number 5. Choose Your Destiny. And Darth Vader number 26, Choose Your Destiny. And so, yeah, so you get a lot of newer books because I went in there on a Thursday, so right after New Comic Book Day, and I don't have a pull list at the shop that's closest to me, so went down to Augusta because as I mentioned earlier, Dragon Con decided to charge me for a ticket, but there was no thing going on Thursday, so decided to take that time and go on down to Augusta, and got to meet Pops and Finn and Monkey, but from Legion of Comics fame. But at the Augusta Book Exchange, also got to meet the owners of that. But Mark had to work. Priorities, Mark. Come on. Seriously, though. Cool shops down there. So, what do you think about that haul? Let me know in the comments below. Now, let's shift over to the giveaway. We're going to share this screen. All right. So I am going to share this screen right here, and we are going to shuffle this up really good. Should have done this prior to going on. So we're going to shuffle this up really good. I'm going to spin twice, especially now that we're doing this pre-recorded as opposed to live. And first person is going to be contacted and have 48 hours to claim it. If not, it'll go to the second person. And that's the way this will work. The way you got on this wheel was by being a channel member, which channel memberships are part of the announcement to be. And or done a live chat, a super chat during live shows like the auctions that I typically do on a Saturday and that kind of thing. So, all right, let's hit this button and let's see who is the winner chicken dinner of these metal covers. We Live Connect and Cover triple signed. Helvetica. Helvetica. If you're not following Helvetica and the gang over at Madhouse, go over there, check them out, give them a sub up follow. They have auctions on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So go check them out, Madhouse. And just in case they don't want to do that, let me spin and see who would be the next in line. Amy Cleaver. So if Amy decides that, or if Helvetica decides to not take these metal covers, 1 in 100. Are you kidding me? Let me see if I can connect them together, right? Big Time Collectibles exclusive, and got the Miranda brothers to sign both, and Alan Qua, who's a cover artist, these metal covers. So I'm sure one of those two people will be accepting it. Now, I mentioned channel memberships, and this is part of the channel announcements that I got going on. For those of you who are channel members, you recently received an email saying that your channel membership has been canceled. That's because I canceled every channel membership. I do appreciate those of you who have supported this channel since I've been monetized for, I don't know, a year, whatever, how long it's been. And supported the channel through that monthly membership, whether through YouTube and or Patreon, because some of you were members of both. The Patreon membership has been canceled as well. The reason why I've done that. So the reason why I've done that was because when I was getting the memberships, I was providing content to you. Of course, you made the conscientious decision as to whether or not to watch it, right? Anyhow, I was making multiple videos, having multiple auctions all the time, so on and so forth. Because of several different things, I have not been doing that. And for the foreseeable future, I'm not going to be able to do that. So regardless of whether it's $2.99 or whatever the membership level on Patreon, I didn't want to be taking your money and not be providing some kind of value. Again, I know you can choose whether or not to watch it. I trust everyone did, but nevertheless, I'm not going to do that. So I canceled all the memberships for that reason. And as mentioned, probably for the foreseeable future, my content on my YouTube channel is going to be pretty bleak. You might be able to catch me over on the Madhouse selling some comics. Maybe even I'll do a Saturday auction here or there. But by and large, you have to, YouTube's secondary. I've seen several people get all worked in arms about this, that, and the other on YouTube. It's just YouTube. So the main thing in life is keeping the main thing the main thing. And back in January, if you recall, I kind of took a hiatus where I wasn't doing anything but pre-recorded content, no live shows or nothing like that. I wasn't even appearing on anybody else's live shows. And so I'm taking a step back to just kind of make sure the main thing's the main thing. For those of you familiar with my Instagram, you know that I've been selling the mystery boxes over there to help pay for my daughter's wedding. So some of it's that, some of it's job, and just overall wanted to make sure that take a step back to keep the main thing the main thing, and want to be able to provide you value if you're going to depart with some of those green certificates of appreciation called American currency for other things than comic books. I want to be able to provide your best value for your dollar. So do appreciate all the well wishes for those of you who reached out to me directly after I canceled the memberships going, hey, what's going on? What's wrong? You know, everything okay? I do appreciate the kind words and the concern, because we have run into things in the comic book community where people got alone and bad things happen. It's nothing like that. Y'all know I have a very large family, very interconnected with that and church and everything else. So it's nothing like that. It's just making sure there's only 24 hours in a day, and you can do anything you want in life. You just can't do everything you want. So just kind of evaluating where YouTube and or Instagram fit into that, how much of that, because if I take time for that, that takes away from time with comics, or takes away from time in bike riding or other things, other hobbies, because again, the main thing, the job, the family have to come first. And that's kind of where I'm at with that. So there's your announcement. Do appreciate everybody for your support. It's been an open and welcome community, and do appreciate that. Plan to be popping in and out of chats here, there, and everywhere. I know I got at least one commitment for next week on Gary B's show, which I believe I'll still be able to do. And till next time, keep reading, keep collecting. Adios.